CapCut makes video editing easy, even if you've never done it before. But with so many awesome tools and features packed in, where should you even start? This video will guide you through it all and teach you everything that you need to know about CapCut, step by step. We'll start from the very beginning by importing and trimming your footage. Then we'll walk through the full editing workflow, adding transitions, music and sound effects. We'll add captions and fine-tune both your audio and visuals. We'll even explore some advanced features like keyframing and color correction. You'll also learn how to use CapCut's powerful AI tools like text-based video editing, AI video generation, and even how to remove your video's background in a single click. And along the way, you'll pick up plenty of tips and tricks to level up your editing skills. I'm Caleb, a video editor with over 10 years of experience, and I'll make sure that by the end of this video, you'll be able to edit videos like a pro using CapCut. First, to get started, click the link at the top of this video's description. There, you can sign up for CapCut and make sure that you're getting the best available deal. And if you already have CapCut installed, feel free to skip ahead to the next chapter using the timestamps listed in the video description. If not, click on Get Pro Now. Here you can sign up using your method of choice. I'll go ahead and enter my email address, and I'll click Continue. Go ahead and enter your password, and click Sign Up. It'll ask you some more personal information. Just go ahead and fill that out, and I'll meet you at the next step. Once you've verified your email address and filled out your personal information, click on Open CapCut. You'll then be brought back to this page. If you choose to upgrade your account to CapCut Pro, you're going to get access to all of CapCut's AI editing features, all of their templates and assets, and you'll get yourself 100 gigabytes of cloud storage. I will be using some pro features throughout the video, and right now there's actually an active deal to get 7 days of CapCut Pro for free. So if you'd like to give it a try, just click Get Pro and go through the sign up process there. And then after that, you'll scroll down here to download the CapCut desktop version. There is a web editor, but the desktop version is significantly better. So let's click on Download CapCut Desktop, and you'll run the installer here. Go ahead and run the installer to download the CapCut desktop app to your computer, and I'll meet you at the next step. To start editing our video, we'll have to create a new project, and you can do so by clicking this big blue Create Project button seen here at the top. Let's go ahead and click on that now. And we've now created a new project. What you're looking at here is the primary interface of CapCut. Anytime you start a new project, you'll see this every single time. So let's go ahead and get familiar with everything that we're looking at here. Starting from the left-hand side of the screen, over here is where you'll import your footage. You can drag and drop your files here or click on this button to import your footage. You'll also notice some tabs here at the top. These are really important and we'll check them out later on in the video. The next panel is here in the middle, and this is our player. When we're previewing our edited video, it will play right here. And the next panel that we have is the Details panel. Here you can get more information about your video and photo files, like the name, file location, the aspect ratio, resolution, frame rate, and other important information. Then lastly, here towards the bottom of the screen, we have our timeline. And this is where pretty much all of the video editing is going to occur. This is where you'll trim your footage, add B-roll, clips, music, effects. Pretty much every single edit is going to take place right here. Since we're talking about layouts, one really quick tip for you: if you want to change how this layout looks or reset the layout if you move something on accident, go to the top right here and click this button. If I click on it, you'll see that it's currently set to the default layout, but they do have some other options. They have a vertical style, one that prioritizes attributes and media, and then like I said, you can reset the layout as well if you ever change something. Okay, now that we understand what we're looking at, let's go ahead and import our first piece of footage. We'll do that by going to the left-hand side and finding the Media panel, and then we'll click on the little cloud icon here. That's going to open up this folder, and you can actually get access to all of the footage that we're editing throughout this video if you check the video description. Inside of it, you'll find a Google Drive link. Just go ahead and download it, and you can edit along with me if you'd like to. I'll start by importing clip 1. So I'll double click on it here. And now that piece of footage will be imported to my media bin. Now to bring this clip into our timeline and begin editing, there's two ways we can do that. We can hover over the clip and click the blue plus icon right here, or you can drag and drop the clip into your timeline just like this.
And now our clip is ready to be edited on our timeline. And the first thing I want to do here is zoom into my timeline because everything is a little bit too small right now. To zoom into your timeline, press the Control button on your keyboard. And if you're on Mac, that's going to be Command. And then press the plus button on your keyboard. As I'm holding down Control and pressing the plus button, you'll see that I zoom into my timeline every single time I press it. If you zoom in too far, however, and you want to zoom out, just hold down Control and press the minus button on your keyboard. Each time I press the minus button, you'll see that I zoom out of my timeline. That is one way to do it. The way that I prefer to zoom in and out of the timeline is by holding down Control again and then scrolling up and down on my mouse. When I scroll up on my mouse, it zooms into the timeline, and as I scroll down, it'll zoom out. You can choose which way you like to do it more. I prefer scrolling, so that's the way I'll do it throughout this video. And this is also a good time to note, if you're having trouble keeping up with any of the keyboard shortcuts throughout this video, there's also another link in the description. There you'll find every single keyboard shortcut that I talk about throughout this video. So if you're getting lost there, just go ahead and check in on that sheet. Now that you've imported your footage and added it to your timeline, let's quickly go over managing your playback and project settings. When you imported your footage, if it appears to be blurry here in the player, that's most likely due to your playback quality. Here in the bottom right of the player, if I click this button that says full, this allows me to change the quality of the playback. You'll want to set this to a lower quality if you have a slower or older computer. So I would play around with this and see which quality works best for your system. Changing the quality here is not going to affect the end result of your video. It just makes it easier for your system to preview the video while you're editing. In my case, I'll set this to full. Then if you want to change the aspect ratio of your video, click on this button right here that says ratio. And you can set it to the original, to 16:9, or if you're editing for like TikTok, Reels, or Shorts, you can change it to 9:16. Then if you want to change any other information regarding the details of your clip, just find the clip here in the media bin and simply click on it. Then with the clip highlighted here, you'll make your way over to the details panel on the far right-hand side and click on the modify button. This allows you to change the name of the project, the aspect ratio, resolution, frame rate, and color space. I'm happy with everything here, so I'll click on cancel. Okay, with all that done, we can now get started editing. And the first thing I'll teach you is how to trim your clips. In Capcut, there's two ways to trim your clips, and I'll teach you how to do both ways. The first way is by bringing your mouse to the end of the clip that you want to trim, and as you get to the end, you'll see it changes from the regular mouse pointer into this small icon here. Now, if I hold down left click and then bring the clip in, you'll see it starts to shorten it. Now again, I can go the other side of the clip and do the exact same thing. Just drag it in, and it's going to shorten down that clip. Now, I'll press Ctrl Z on my keyboard to undo that change, and let me teach you the other way to trim your clips. If I take my playhead right here, which is this small little indicator here that shows where we are on the timeline, and I bring it to a spot, I can go to this small icon here in my little toolbar, and this is the split button. But if you press Ctrl B on your keyboard, which is the way that I prefer to do it, you can just do it automatically through your keyboard shortcut, rather than having to go to this button over and over again. So I'll press Ctrl and B, and you'll see my clip was split right where the playhead is. Now let's say I don't want this side of the clip here because it's smaller. I'll click on it, then I'll press the delete key on my keyboard to delete it. I'll press Ctrl Z on my keyboard again to undo those changes. Now, those are the two more manual and traditional ways to trim your footage within Capcut, but there is a third brand new exciting way to trim your footage. If you click this small icon right here in your toolbar, it's going to open up the transcript video editor. You can see my transcription here, and it also indicates areas of silence. So if I preview my video, you can see I do a small millennial pause while I get ready to say my lines. And my video also starts with the word all right. Let's say I just want to jump straight into my script. I want to start saying we're here today at the Cameron Park Zoo, rather than having all that silence and the very beginning all right. To remove that quickly, all I'll do is highlight the word all right along with the silence at the top. You can see as I highlight the transcription, it actually reflects here in the timeline as well. And to remove all this unwanted video, I'll just click the delete button here. Now, if I preview my video, We're here today at the Cameron Park Zoo in Waco, Texas. Now, my video doesn't have that awkward silence in the beginning, and it just jumps straight into the action. You can imagine how useful this would be if you had like an hour-long seminar or a podcast. Let's go ahead and close out of the transcript video editor here. And I'll press Ctrl-Z on my keyboard to undo the changes. Next up, let's learn how to adjust the framing of our video. Let's say, for example, on this clip that I want to zoom in just a little bit so that way the viewer can see the Cameron Park Zoo sign in the background just a little bit easier. To adjust our video's framing, let's first go to the timeline and click on the clip that we want to adjust. So I'll click on this clip here, and we'll see our transform options appear here in the top right. Here we're able to adjust the scale, position, and rotation of our video. We'll start with scale, which is essentially just the zoom. So as I take the slider and bring it to the right, it's going to zoom in. And if I do the opposite and bring it to the left, it's going to zoom out. Next up, we can adjust the position. We're able to do that through the X and Y sliders, but the way that I prefer to do it is just by holding down left click here on the video and the player, and I'm able to just freely drag it around. You'll also notice these blue rulers appear on the video. When you see that happen, that means your video is centered. Right now, it's centered horizontally. And as I bring it to the middle, you'll see another one appear, and that means it's centered both horizontally and vertically. And then lastly, we can adjust the rotation of our video. I can do that again by adjusting the slider manually here, but I also have this fun little wheel, and if I hold down left click and spin it around, I'm able to just freely spin my video around and get it to look exactly how I want. I'll press Ctrl-Z to undo that change. And now that we know what we're doing, I'm going to take my scale and adjust it to about, we'll say 115%, and then I'll take my video and I'll move it slightly to the left. I'm happy with the framing now. You can see me still in the frame, and now you can see the background a little bit better too. Next, let's talk about working with B-roll and how you're going to import stock footage into your projects. I'll start by importing my B-roll, and I'll do that by clicking the import button here in the media bin. And then I'll select clip 2, 3, and 4. With those selected, I'll click the open button here, and you'll see those clips appear here in the media bin. Next, we'll want to take the B-roll footage and put it on top of the narration. So we'll consider clip 1 the narration because that's where all of the talking in the video is occurring, but we want our viewer to actually see the things that we're talking about. So with all 3 of these clips highlighted, I'm going to simply drag them on top of the existing footage. And as I let go, you'll see it creates a brand new track on top of the pre-existing footage. And now I essentially have 2 layers of footage. I have my top layer, which is my B-roll footage, and then I have my bottom layer, which is my talking head narration footage. You can see these layers or tracks indicated here on the left-hand side. So if I hit the lock button, it's going to lock the track so that way I can't touch it anymore. If I click the eyeball, it's going to hide all of the footage on that track. And if I click the audio icon here, it will mute all of the audio on the track. Now I'll undo the changes here. I want to be able to see the footage on the track, and I do want to be able to edit the footage on the track, so I'll unlock it. Okay, now let's take a look at the top track where our B-roll is. So if we take a look here, I have this clip here in clip 2 that shows the Cameron Park Zoo sign. In clip 3, I have the Texas and US flags waving at the park. And then in clip 4, I have another sign at the park. We're going to layer this B-roll footage on top of our first track where clip 1 is, and there's specific points in the footage where I want the B-roll to appear. So when I first say Cameron Park Zoo, I want to show clip 2. When I say Waco, Texas, I want clip 3 to appear. And then somewhere towards the end of the footage, I want clip 4 to appear, just to make the footage a little bit more engaging for our viewer. Now I'm going to take my playhead and go back to the beginning of the footage again. I'm going to hide the B-roll track. I'll press play on my footage. Now at 1 minute and 19 seconds, that's about where the silence ends. So I'm going to press Control-B with the clip selected to trim it. And then on the left-hand side, I'll just go ahead and delete all of that silence. Take my playhead and go back to the beginning. Press play again. All right, we're here today at the Cameron Park Zoo. And another quick tip, if you press the space bar on your keyboard, you don't actually have to go and click play every single time. You press space bar, it's going to play, and then if you press space bar while the video is playing, it's going to pause the video. Now let's go back just a little bit before I say Cameron Park Zoo. Take my playhead and go back just a couple seconds. Now I'm going to press play and then pause the video just before I say Cameron Park Zoo. So you can hear there I'm about to say Cameron Park. And to keep track of this, there's actually a super easy way to mark points on your timeline where action occurs. So since I want to know where to place my Cameron Park Zoo B-roll, I'm going to add a marker. If you see this icon here in your toolbar, that's your marker icon. You can also press M on your keyboard to add a marker quickly. So I click this icon here, it's going to add this little blue flag to our timeline. I can double click on this and I can name this Cameron Park Zoo B-roll. You can also change the color of the flag if I want to. I'll click done. And now I know this is exactly the point in my video where I want the Cameron Park Zoo B-roll or clip 2 to appear. So let's go ahead and unhide the top track. And I'm going to drag clip 2 over to where the marker is. I'll let go of it there. Let's go back a couple seconds and see how that looks.
We're here today at the Cameron Park Zoo in Waco, Texas.
Nice. So now when I say Cameron Park Zoo, the B-roll of the sign itself appears within the video. Now we have clip 2 marked on our timeline here. And the next thing that we'll want to mark is when I say Waco, Texas. And that's where we're going to place clip 3. So let's go back on our timeline. And before I press play, I'm going to take my finger and hover it right over the M button on my keyboard. So that way, the moment I say Waco, Texas, I'll press M and it's going to drop that marker. So let's press play. I'm going to drop the marker and then pause the footage.
The Cameron Park Zoo in Waco, Texas.
So as soon as I said Waco, I pressed M, dropped the marker, and now we know exactly where in the footage I want my next B-roll to appear. So now that I have this new marker on my timeline, I can double click on it. And to make things easier, I'll name this just clip 3, since this is where I want clip 3 to occur. Click done here. And now I'll take the end of clip 2 and drag it to where the next marker is. And you'll see it kind of snaps to it with that blue line, which is super helpful for precise cuts like this. And then I'll take clip 3 and drag it to where clip 2 ends. And then I'll drag the end of clip 3 to shorten it down. And as I'm moving the clip to the right and left, you'll see this time code right here change. That's telling you the duration of the clip itself. So right now it's 5 seconds and 26 frames long. I think this will be good if it's like maybe 3 seconds long, so we'll see how that looks. Let's take our playhead and go back and preview how the B-roll looks.
Today at the Cameron Park Zoo in Waco, Texas. It's been around since 1993.
Yeah, I like how that looks. I think that we could shorten it down to maybe 2 seconds and maybe 20 frames. I'm pretty happy with that. So now that we have clip 3 and 2 laid out on our timeline, let's preview the rest of clip 1 and find a natural point to place clip 4. I'll press play real quick.
1,700 animals from around the world. So we're going to go around the zoo today and see the exhibits.
I think when I say, so we're going to go around the zoo today, I think that's a good place for us to put clip 4. So let's go back a little bit in the timeline and I'll get ready to place a marker. Press play.
So we're going to go around the zoo today and see the exhibits.
I like that. Now we'll take clip 4 and drag it to our marker. I'll go to the right side of the clip again and bring it down to like, we'll say 3 seconds. Let's go back and preview that and see how it looks.
So we're going to go around the zoo today and see the exhibits and see what kind of animals we can find. So let's go check it out.
Nice. And then at the end of clip 1 here, there is an awkward little ending where I put the camera down. I'll play that so you can see it. There we go. So we don't want that. So let's go to the point where I stop talking. So we'll go back and press play and pause when I'm done.
Animals we can find. So let's go check it out.
And I'll take the ending and just drag it to remove that awkward little bit at the end. And there we go. We now have all of our B-roll layered on top of our footage. Now, before I move on and show you how to add stock footage into your project, there's something about clip 4 that's bothering me. If I look through this, you can see that I'm looking to do a pan with my camera movement. And you can see it starting towards the end of the clip, but for the beginning of the clip, it's just sort of awkwardly hanging out here, sitting still. And you might think that you have to adjust the timing of your clip here in the timeline to fix it. But if you ever run into a situation like this, just right-click on your clip, click on Trim Clip, And then you can drag this little box here to the point where the camera movement occurs. So I'll keep dragging it. And as you can see, I want the camera to be panning when the clip begins. So I'll find the point where the movement starts, which is about right here. Then I'll click on replace clip. And now if I go back and play through the footage, get a nice, beautiful little pan movement there. And I think that even happens on clip 2 as well. As you can see, it's kind of awkwardly just hanging out here before the movement occurs. So I'll right click on the clip, click trim clip, and then I'll just drag this box here to where the movement is actually taking place, which is about right there where the camera movement starts. So I'll click on replace clip. Let's go back and preview it. There we go. That is so much better. Now let's talk about adding stock footage into your project. To access CapCut's stock footage library, go to the left-hand side right here and click on a library. Once you do this, you'll get access to CapCut's stock photos and videos that you can use for your projects. Now, this is really cool in my opinion because usually with any other video editor, you usually have to open up like an internet browser and access a stock footage website. But here, you're able to search up anything that you want and add it directly into your timeline. So since I'm taking a tour of the zoo in this video, I'll type in zoo and press enter on my keyboard. And now I can scroll through and find a piece of stock footage that works for my project. This video right here of this tiger looks like it could work pretty well. So I'll just simply drag it into my timeline. For now, I'll place it after clip 4 so it doesn't interfere with anything that we just did before it. And then I'll drop it into my timeline. Now, if I take my playhead and go over to the video, I now have complete access to this piece of stock footage and I can edit it up however I like. So when we're looking at our timeline, I can see that there's an empty space right here between clip 3 and 4. So I think it makes sense for us to put this stock footage somewhere within this empty space. Let's go back through and listen to what I have to say right here in this video.
And is home to over 1,700 animals.
So when I say 1,700 animals, I think that's a good point for us to place the stock footage. So I'll go back and get ready to place a marker.
To over 1,700.
There we go. I placed my marker right when I said 1,700. Now for my stock footage, it's currently 20 seconds and 9 frames long, which is just way too much. So I'm going to click on the clip, take my playhead and go back. I'm going to press Control B on my keyboard to make it cut. And then I'll go about a second in and press Control B again. Now I'll delete both sides of the clip and I'll drag my stock footage to where I just put that marker. Now let's go back and preview this once more.
And is home to over 1,700 animals from around the world. So we're going to go around the zoo today and see.
I think that looks good. Now we do have some other footage that we're going to add to finish up our video here. So let's go to Import in the top left, click Import. And now we're going to import clips 5 through 10. I've got all those selected now, so I'll click Open. And the rest of my zoo tour video is now imported into our media bin here. We're going to add all of this footage to our timeline eventually later on in the video, but for now, let's just add clip 5 and place it directly after clip 1. So clip 5 is just a clip of me walking through the zoo here. It's a little bit shaky though. You can see as I preview the video, my footsteps. I'm not using a gimbal. I'm just walking and holding my phone out in front of me. But there is a way to stabilize the footage and make it look like it was shot on a gimbal. On the right-hand side here, you see the stabilize button. Let's go ahead and click the little checkbox next to it. And it's going to start stabilizing our footage here. You can see it's processing now. We'll wait a moment for our video to stabilize. Now, if I go back and preview from the beginning, it looks really good now. The clip is a little bit too long though, so let's take the end of it and shorten it up. We'll go to the left here too and trim off the very beginning. And nice, now we have a little video afterwards of me talking, of us getting into the zoo before we see our first animal. And then one last thing to note before we move on from stabilization, if you want to change the level of stabilization, just scroll down a little bit, click on this box here, and you can change it from recommended, minimum cut, and most stable. I'd recommend experimenting, try out each one and see which one works best for your footage. Now, going back to this walking footage here in clip 5, it is a little bit slow. I kind of want to move through this a bit faster by increasing the speed of the video. We're able to do that by going to the top here and clicking on speed. Now you can do both options, right? You can speed up your footage by taking the slider and moving it to the right. But if you have a video shot, let's say in 60 frames per second, 120 frames per second, whatever, you can slow it down and get that nice crispy slow-mo footage. In my case, I'll take the slider and move it to about, we'll say 1.15. You'll see on the timeline here, it says 1.15x, which means that it's been sped up. If I go back and press play, now I'm walking just a little bit quicker through the footage. And then if you don't want to use the slider, you can set the time of the clip here. Let's say for some reason this clip had to be 1.5 seconds long. If I click the down arrow, I can set it to 1.5 seconds. And now my video has been sped up even more. Now I'll go back and set the slider back to 1.15 here. And now we can talk about how to add animations and transitions to your footage. So going back to my timeline here, between clip 1 and our walking clip here in clip 5, it's just a hard cut that happens here, which is just a bit jarring, and I think we can make it a bit more smooth by adding in a transition. To access your transitions, go to the top here and click on the transitions button. And here you'll have access to a ton of different transition options. For example, here, let's just add the first one, which is pull in 2. To add a transition between clips, drag the transition that you want in between two pieces of footage, and then just let go. Now, if I go back and press play, you can see we have a nice, cool little transition between our clips, rather than that really jarring hard cut. To adjust how fast your transition occurs, you'll have to have it clicked on here. In my case, I'm already clicked into my transition. And then once you do that, you'll see the transition parameters field appear here. It'll tell you the name of your transition and the duration. Right now it's set to 0.9, which I think is good, but if I wanted it to be quicker, I could bring it down to like 0.5. Now, if I go back and preview it again, you'll see the transition happens even quicker. I'm going to bring it back up to 0.9 though. And now we've added a transition, but let's talk about adding animations. I was kind of confused coming from video editing software like Premiere Pro because you can add transitions to the end of clips. But in CapCut, transitions are only for 2 clips and animations are reserved for singular clips. Let me show you what I mean. So let's go to clip 4. Let's click into it and then click on animation. And here you have 3 different options. You have in animations, out animations, and combo animations. Let's go right before our clip starts in the timeline, and let's add an in animation. Let's click on zoom 1. And as you can see there, let's go back, it's a little bit quick. I'll press play. Now it zooms out, which I think looks really cool. But then again, as I preview through the timeline, it just kind of disappears and cuts back to my face. But that's why we have out animations as well. So we'll click out. And then this one looks kind of cool. Let's go for swoosh. I'll click that. Go back and preview it again. Now it does like a little cool swoosh bright thing as it leaves the frame. And then pretty similar to transitions, you can adjust the duration as well. These are the in and the out points of our animations. So for the beginning in animation, I can drag the duration to the right or left to increase or decrease the duration. And then the exact same thing for the out animation as well. Now for the combo animations, these ones I don't use as much. I would experiment around with these, but some of them seem to kind of glitch out, or I just don't have as much control, I feel, over when they come in and out of the frame. So for me at least, I like using the in and out animations, but feel free to try out the combo ones as well. All right, now let's go ahead and add in the rest of the clips that we imported earlier into our timeline. So we have clip 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I'm going to click on clip 6 here, and then hold down Control and click on 7, 8, 9, and 10. Then I'm going to drag clip 6 into track 1, along with the rest of my clips as well. And then I'll let go. Now I'm going to hold down Control and scroll down to zoom out of my timeline. And now I can see everything that I just added in here. Now let's see what's going on here in clip 6. I'll press play.
We're on our way to our first exhibit. So let's see what animal we come across first.
So I've got to cut out the millennial pause here in the beginning of my video. I guess that's kind of like my trademark here for my zoo trip. And then the ending as well. I let it linger a little too long. So let's zoom into our timeline by holding down Control and scrolling up. Then I will drag the clip over here to the right. And you may notice that there's actually a little trick here for trimming our clips, or at least finding the point where talking begins. It's a good time to talk about waveforms and how those can really help you with your editing. So when I'm looking at my footage here, it's kind of hard to tell when the talking begins. But audio, and specifically waveforms, are a great indicator, and they can help you speed up your editing process significantly. So the waveforms are down here. You can see them indicated by these lines. And as you can see, this is where the talking begins. And I'm able to tell because the waveforms get louder. Before this point here, it's pretty much silent, right? Waveforms are super low. They're not going very high. But then suddenly the waveforms get way higher here. For me as an editor, that indicates that that's where the speaking is beginning in the clip. So rather than constantly playing it back and listening to the clip over and over again, I'm just going to look at the waveforms and be like, oh, okay, that's exactly where the clip is starting with the speaking. I'm going to press Control B on my keyboard to delete everything before it, and then just delete the silence there. Now, if I go back to clip 5 here and play through.
We're on our way to our first exhibit.
And there we go. Now the speaking begins right away. And we can use waveforms on the other side of the clip as well. So I can see right here, this is about the point where I'm done talking. Let's go to the very end and press play. There we go. Looks like I stopped speaking right about here. So again, I'll click on my clip, press Control B, and then delete the silence on the end of the clip. I think clip 6 is a great example for us to see how we can control and adjust our audio within our project. Going back to the video's waveforms, if I hover over the line here near the waveforms, I'm able to drag up to increase the volume, which is indicated by the decibels there, dB, currently increasing it by 11.8 decibels. I'd drag it up more to 18.8 decibels. I can also do the opposite, right? Dragging it down. That's going to make it even quieter. And you'll notice as I drag it up, you'll see these orange and red dots appear. As I make the audio louder, that's indicating that it's peaking. Peaking is essentially when your audio is so loud that you're losing data. It's going to sound horrible, super duper loud, so make sure you're not seeing these orange dots in your audio. And if you are, just bring the decibels down by adjusting your waveforms here. And then some other cool settings here for our audio with our clip selected. Let's go to audio in the top right. And here we can change our volume. We can add a fade in and out. We can normalize the loudness, which I really like doing within Capcup. This makes it to where your clip stays at a nice consistent volume. So we'll click normalize loudness. Let's also add a very slight fade in and out for our clip. There's also some other AI features here like enhance voice, video translator, reduce noise, separate audio, and fill channel. I do like using the reduce noise function here, especially for a video like this that has a lot of background noise. I'm walking, so the wind is kind of interfering with my microphone. So I'll click on reduce noise. So let's go back and listen to how our audio sounds now.
We're on our way to our first exhibit. So let's see what animal we come across first.
Nice. So my voice sounds a lot more clear. The volume is nice and level, and I have a nice fade in and out here. For the sake of the tutorial, we're not going to go through and do this for every single one of our clips, but it's a good practice going forward when you're editing your video projects. Now let's go past clip 6 and identify going forward which one of these new clips that we've imported are B-roll and which ones I'm speaking in. And then we'll take our B-roll clips and bring them to our top track, which in our case is our B-roll track. And we'll keep, and it looks like this is the speaking clip here in clip 9, because I have my talking head here with me talking in the clip. And we'll leave this one on the bottom track. So clip 7 and clip 8 are these clips of this giraffe here. I'll consider that B-roll. So let's move clip 7 up. Let's move clip 8 up. And then clip 10 is another B-roll clip as well. So we'll take that and move it up as well. Now, one audio adjustment I do want to quickly do is mute all of our B-roll footage. If you notice, let's go back to the beginning here in clip 1 and the transition into clip 2. Let's listen in.
Today at the Cameron Park Zoo.
You just hear like a ton of random wind, right? That's because as I zoom into my timeline near clip 2 is actually peaking here, and it's just the background noise from when I was recording this piece of B-roll. We definitely don't want that present within our project. So let's just go ahead and drag down all of the waveforms to where they make this negative infinity sign. And that means it's completely muted. And we'll do that for all of the B-roll that's present within our footage that has waveforms. I think I'll also mute the walking clip here that we stabilized earlier. And then all the footage of this giraffe, there's no reason to have audio on it. Let's just mute everything here. So it's nice and organized and quiet throughout our video, except for when I'm speaking. Now let's get a good detailed look at what's going on in clip 9, because this is the next narration clip that we have to work with. So to be able to see what's going on, I'm going to click the eyeball button on our B-roll track. That's going to make the footage disappear there so I can actually see the talking head footage underneath. Go to the beginning of clip 9, and using the trick we learned earlier with the waveforms, I'll scroll in and I can see that it's nice and quiet right here, but then suddenly the waveforms go up, which indicates to me that the talking begins right around here. So I'm going to go in with my playhead, click on my clip, press Control B on my keyboard, delete the silence, and then I'll zoom out and then do the exact same thing here on the back end. Looking at my waveforms, it looks like the talking ends right around here, but I can look through my footage and see when my mouth kind of closes right around there. Click on my clip, Control B, and then delete the silence on the back end. Now I'm going to press Control on my keyboard and scroll down to zoom out of my timeline. Now let's preview clip 9 and see what's going on with this giraffe here behind me. I'll press play.
Behind me, you can see the giraffe exhibit here at the Cameron Park Zoo, the first place we're stopping at today. On average, giraffes are anywhere between 16 and 18 feet tall. And one cool fact is that they only need between 5 and 30 minutes of sleep a day.
That is a pretty cool fact. Now I'm going to go ahead and unhide the B-roll track here by clicking on the eyeball. And then I'm going to quickly just organize the giraffe B-roll while I'm speaking about the giraffes here in clip 9. If you're editing along with me using the Google Drive link, feel free to just go in, get creative, put the clips where you feel like they fit best. I'm going to shorten clip 7 down, clip 8 down, and clip 10. And I'm just going to place them just kind of evenly throughout the video here. Now we have our video nice and organized. I'd say all of the placement of the B-roll, the main editing here is pretty much done. If we weren't making a tutorial, I would actually just go in and add more transitions, animations, maybe change the pacing of some of the clips, but I think we're good to go here. Let's move on and talk about how we're going to add stock music and sound effects into our project now. To access the stock music library, click on Audio here at the top. And that's going to get you access to the stock music library here. To preview how a piece of stock music sounds before you go and add it into your timeline, just click on the album cover here, and it's going to preview the sound for you. Let's hear how this one sounds. I like how this sounds, so I'm going to simply drag it into my project and put it underneath my video here to create a new audio track. So let's let go of it here. And now we have an audio track with our stock music underneath our video. As you can see, it is peaking quite a lot here, which indicates that it's too loud. So I'm going to go to the top right, and I'm going to set the volume to negative 15 decibels. Now if I take my playhead and I go back to the beginning of my video, let's press play.
All right, we're here today at the Cameron Park Zoo in Waco, Texas. It's been around since 1993.
Nice. So we have our stock music behind our audio here. Clip 1's audio is a little bit too loud still though. So I'm going to do a quick adjustment here by going to audio, clicking on normalize loudness and reduce noise. Let's preview it again one more time.
All right, we're here today at the...
Nice. With that adjustment, you can really hear how these effects change your audio. Pretty much, I felt like we were unable to hear the stock music behind clip 1. And now I can hear it super well. The reduced noise pretty much eliminated all of that crazy wind sound behind me, and it evened out all the audio so everything sounds nice and professional. So this is our stock music library, but I mentioned that there's also sound effects. If you see right here, it says sound effects. Click on this here at the bottom left, and this will open up the sound effects library. Since we're at the zoo, let's again look up zoo and see what comes up. The sound here called In the Zoo. Zoo environmental sound, that could be good. Let's click on it again to preview it. Yeah, I mean, this would be perfect behind our B-roll of the giraffe or maybe the tiger here. This is obviously dependent on your project and what you're working on, but again, you have an entire stock music and sound effects library at your disposal, and you're able to easily search for whatever you need and drag it into your timeline. This is super impressive, and as a video editor, I really love this. Now, we're going to learn about a couple really fun and more advanced techniques within Capcut, but don't worry, they're easy to understand, and I'll teach you everything you need to know. The first thing we're going to learn how to do is something called audio ducking. Let's go to our timeline here and go to the walking footage. And at this point, let's listen in to where the transition occurs.
All right, so let's go check it out.
I want the background music to get a little bit louder since there's no speaking happening during the walking clip. To make that happen, let's click on our background music here. Let's take our playhead and go back to around the point where the transition happens. Then on volume in the top right, you're going to click this little diamond shape here. And this is called a keyframe. We're going to dive deeper into keyframes here in a few minutes, but if you've never worked with keyframes before, you can kind of think of them as checkpoints. So if I click add keyframe, you can see after I click that button on my background music here within the layer, a little diamond appears, and that is my keyframe. But what does that mean? When I click that button, I'm telling the software that at this point, I want my volume to be set at -15 decibels. I'm setting a checkpoint for a value. And the end result that we're looking for is to make our audio get louder. So in order to achieve that, we have to set another keyframe. Let's go a little bit further into our video here, right around the point where the transition ends. And now I could click add keyframe again to set another keyframe. But since I already did that earlier, if I just simply adjust the volume and make it louder, the software is going to automatically create another keyframe. We can see that happening down here. And now our audio has gotten louder again. So to review, we set 2 checkpoints or 2 keyframes. At the beginning, it was set at -15 decibels. Then I set another keyframe later on for 0 decibels to make it louder. And then between the 2 keyframes, an animation occurs between the values. So it goes from -15, and you can actually see it changing up here in real time as I scroll through, and it just slowly gets louder. And that's pretty much everything you need to know about keyframes. They're not too hard, they're super simple, you're just setting 2 different values. But now let's press play again and hear how it sounds whenever I start speaking in clip 6.
We're on our way to our first exhibit, so let's see.
So now you can't hear me at all. It sounds like I'm essentially competing with the audio. To fix that, we can do something called audio ducking with keyframes. We're essentially going to do the opposite of what we just did. We're going to animate the audio volume to go back down. So in our timeline, let's go to about the point where I start speaking, which is right here. Then we're going to go slightly before it. Let's click on our music. Then we'll create another keyframe for our volume where it's set at 0 decibels. We'll go a little bit further into when I start speaking, which is right here. Then we'll bring our volume back down to -15 decibels. And you can see that change reflect once again here between the keyframes. Let's bring our playhead back and hear how that sounds.
We're on our way to our first exhibit, so let's see what animal we...
Now, rather than the background music being super loud and you barely being able to hear me, we balanced out the audio by doing audio ducking. And you can do this for the rest of your project. Anytime there's a gap where you want your viewer to be able to hear the background music better, you can animate it using keyframes to bring the volume up. And then whenever you start speaking, just do the exact opposite and bring your volume back down again. But now you may be asking, what else can I do with keyframes? And the answer to that is that you can do a lot of different stuff with keyframes. Let's now talk about how we're going to use keyframes on our video. So I'll press Control on my keyboard and scroll down to zoom out of my timeline. And then I'll bring my playhead over to clip 3. Now here I want to create a small zoom animation that happens within my video. I can do that by clicking on the video that I want to create the animation on. Then on scale, we're going to press the keyframe button next to it. And then we'll do the same thing for the position. Now I'll go with my playhead a bit deeper into the video here. We'll bring the scale up from 100% up to about 115%. And then with the position, we can just simply drag our video. And I want to make sure that we're zooming into the Texas flag. So I'm going to bring it up here so that way the scale kind of goes up towards the flag. And then I'll zoom into my timeline here to get a better look at my keyframes. In the same way we had it with the audio, we can see our keyframes here appear on the video layer. Now, if you look and see here on our first keyframe, it's not actually happening at the beginning of the clip. So if I go back with my playhead, you can see that the zoom doesn't start happening until this first keyframe, but I actually want it to start a little bit before. To fix that, we can adjust the timing between the two keyframes. Like for example here, if I were to take the first keyframe and drag it way closer to my ending keyframe and then press play, that zoom is going to happen super fast. But if I bring it all the way to the beginning, and then I bring this ending keyframe all the way to the end, and then I preview the clip, there's going to be a nice gradual zoom that happens throughout the whole clip. So you can also adjust the distance between your keyframes to increase the timing of things as well. Now, the next thing that I want to add into my video are captions. Back in the day, you used to have to manually create text layers and manually write out all of your captions, but with CapCut, you're able to automatically generate captions for your video. To do that, go up to the top here and click on Captions. And here you can adjust the spoken language of your video, whether you want bilingual captions. You can auto-highlight keywords and also identify filler words. To generate captions, just click on Generate here. And CapCut will automatically generate captions for your video. Let's go ahead and give it a second to finish up. And as you can see on my timeline, we have a new track here, and this is where all of my captions for my video are going to be. Now, auto captions are great, but it's bound to get stuff wrong when transcribing. So if something is wrong, like I can see here, it says it's home to over 17 animals from around the world. That wouldn't be a super impressive zoo. So I want to change this to 1,700 animals from around the world. To do that, I'll double click on the text here in my timeline, and then I can simply correct it here by changing 17 to 1,700. And in this panel here on the right-hand side, you're also able to change stuff like your font, the font size, the pattern, whether you want it uppercase or lowercase, colors, and then they also have a bunch of different preset styles here as well. I'm used to like yellow captions when watching movies and stuff, so I think I'll go for the yellow preset here. If I click on templates, there's also different types of animated caption templates as well. These are a bit more suited for portrait like TikTok, Shorts, and Reels videos, but these are fun to experiment around with as well. If I click bubble, there's like these little bubble texts here and different effects as well in the effects tab. I'm happy with my yellow captions, so I'll leave it how it is. You can also add animations to your captions as well by clicking animation here at the top. And here, similar to before with the video animations, we have in, out, loop, and captions. Let's click captions and see what's available to us here. So here we have bounce out, spring, color overlay, all sorts of different presets. You can play around with these and see which ones work. Sometimes they do have some issues. Like for example, if I click on spring,
It is home to over 1,700
you can see it kind of struggle with that because I added in 1,700 earlier. So sometimes there are some errors like this. So I'm going to decide to do no animations for my captions, but definitely something fun to experiment around with. Now, what if you're not looking to add captions to your video, but you are looking to add your own custom text? You're able to do that as well. Go over here to text in the top left. Let's click into it. And then with default text, just drag and drop that onto your timeline here, and I'll put it on a new track. Then we can go over to the Texas flag flying clip here, and we have default text over it. Now in this clip, I mentioned Waco, Texas, and I think it would be kind of cool to have a little animation on screen that shows the town name. So let's change the default text to read Waco, Texas. And I'll scroll down and look at the preset styles here. And we'll click on this one that has the background and black text. Nice, I like how that looks. So I'll bring it and make it a little bit smaller and bring it to the left side of the flag here. And then on animation, I'll click into it. And I like the pop-up animation. I think that would be kind of cool for it to pop in when I say Waco, Texas. Let's check that out. Nice. Let's go back and preview it.
In Waco, Texas.
Then I also want it to animate out, so I'll click out. And then I'll just do a fade out at the end. I'll bring that in so it doesn't awkwardly linger over my face. Just kind of fades out. So with this, you're able to add text to your videos and add all sorts of animations and pretty much combine everything that we've learned throughout this video to customize your video and animate all sorts of cool stuff on top. Now let's learn how to do some basic color correction here in CapCut. We go back towards the beginning of clip 1 and I'll click on my clip here. And then in the top right, I'm going to click on adjust. And here, if I scroll down, I have access to all of these different color correction settings. Say my white balance was off, I could adjust the color temperature here. I could increase the saturation and make myself look insane. I could also adjust the exposure, the contrast, all the typical stuff that you get within a color corrector. I'll bring the contrast down just a little bit here, and maybe we'll say that my footage is a little bit too bright, so we'll bring it down. And now once you've finished up your color correction here, and you've adjusted all of these cool settings, rather than going through each one of the clips on your timeline and adjusting them individually, just click the Apply to All button right here. And once you do that, it's going to apply the color correction to every single clip on your timeline. And also, if you want to add some cool filters to your video, you can do that as well. Go to the top here and click on Filters. And then there's a bunch of different tabs here on the side. For example, if I bring on the Bad Bunny filter, let's try that. We'll just drag it onto my clip. And then it adds this really cool stylized look to my footage. I'll press Ctrl Z to undo it, but that's a really cool way to easily color correct or add just a stylistic look to your footage. Another fun thing that I like doing in CapCut is adding stickers to my video. You can do that by clicking the stickers button here at the top. And similar to the stock footage and music library, they also have a bunch of different free stickers for you to use. We go to the end of our video here where I say the fact about the giraffes getting 5 to 30 minutes of sleep a day. Let's look up a sticker for sleep. If I hover over one, I can see if it's animated or not. So this one you can see is an animated sticker. I'll simply drag and drop it on top of my captions track. And then I'll scale it down here. And using this little handle, I can rotate the sticker. And I'll just put it over here kind of on top of the captions near the corner. And then if I click on animation, I can make it kind of fade in here. And then on out, I can make it fade out as well. I'll adjust the ending to where it ends with the video. And I'll preview it once again.
Between 5 and 30 minutes of sleep a day.
Nice, so we have a little sticker that appears, kind of makes the fact a little bit more fun and engaging. And then if I expand stickers here on the left-hand side, you can click on AI generated. You can actually generate your own stickers with a prompt here. This is a new feature that CapCut just dropped, and it's really cool. So if they don't have a sticker available for you to search, you can just make your own with the AI generation. Speaking of AI features, CapCut has a ton of different cool AI features for you to use. Let's start by checking out the Enhance Image tool. My timeline here, I'll go back to clip 6, and then I'll click on it. And under Video here at the top, let's click into it. And we'll scroll down, and there's Enhance Image right here. This allows you to artificially increase your video quality. So let's say you shot a video at like 480p. If I expand this here, I can change the level of enhancement. Right now it's set to Ultra HD because this was shot at 4K, but you're able to basically upscale your video if it was shot at a poor quality. Then here as well, we have AI expand. This like expands the frame of your video to fit a larger aspect ratio. AI remove is really cool. You're able to, like, let's say for example, here I wanted to remove this stuff in the background. I'm able to highlight it and remove it from the background with AI. One feature that's really cool is if you want to make eye contact with the lens, but for whatever reason during your video, you weren't actually looking at the lens, you can click eye contact and with AI, make yourself look at the lens. Relight is really cool. It allows you to just really change the way that your video looks from a lighting perspective. Auto reframe is for if you want to keep yourself right in the middle of the frame. Then you have remove flickers and motion blur. And then here at the top, if I click remove BG, you can check on auto removal, and it's going to automatically remove the background of your video, kind of creating like a rotoscope or green screen effect. And then here I could put anything behind me that I want. It doesn't just do it for this one frame. If I scroll through the entire video, it uses AI to track me and remove the background. And I did that with simply just one click. That's super impressive. Before I move on, I'll turn this off, and then I'll click on a retouch here at the top right. And with retouch, you're able to kind of add makeup to your face, almost like a filter. Essentially, it makes you look nice and pretty. And then another thing that's pretty cool, if I click this arrow here in the top right and then click AI Stylize, you have different templates and effects where you can turn your video, for example, into like an anime style or a comic book. This one's called surreal or doll. You can try these out. They do pretty crazy, goofy stuff with your video. It's just one of those things that's really fun to experiment around with. Now, I'm going to press Control S on my keyboard to save my video, and then I'm going to click the X in the top right. And now here I have access to some really cool AI tools. I have a video translator. I can automatically turn a long video into shorts, and then I can share those shorts onto short form platforms. I can also turn a script into a video using AI, and then I also have an AI image generator. If I go back to my project here, we can actually get a good look at the AI image generator in action. Let's click on AI media here on the left-hand side. And here we can do an AI image or an AI video. Now, when I'm clicked into AI image right here, I'm able to use a prompt to describe the image that I want to generate. And I can also click reference here and add a reference image for the AI to use. Then you can choose your model and it tells you the difference between them. So you would use the general v3.0 model to generate realistic high quality images. And at the bottom here, for example, General XL is ideal for text posters. So make sure you choose the model that works for your prompt. And then you can also choose the aspect ratio. So 16:9 for a horizontal video and then 9:16 for a portrait. Next, let's check out the AI video, which is really exciting and cool. And here you can either do image to video or text to video. Text to video is pretty similar to what we just looked at for AI image. So let's do image to video and see how that looks. Here I'm able to import an image. So I'll click on import image. And then I have this file here called AI generation reference image. I'll double click on it to upload. And then I can write a prompt here. I'll type make a realistic video of the giraffe walking. It should look natural and he should be walking from left to right. Next, I can choose my model just like before. I'm going to go with Video G3.0. This one does stable motion and high quality and excels in realistic style, which is what I want. Then you have some other options here like motion speed. I'll keep this on normal. Camera control, I'll set this to default. Duration, let's do 10 seconds. And I'll keep the aspect ratio to 16:9. As you can see here, it's going to cost 50 credits for me to generate. And with the Pro plan, I have 1,150 left. So I'll click on generate. And we'll wait for the AI to generate our video. Now let's take our clip and bring it to the end here. I'll take my playhead and bring it to the spot where I put it. And let's play to preview what it came up with. I think it looks pretty good based on the reference image that I gave it. Right now my timeline is a little bit weird because we left and closed out of the project. So if I go to the bottom right here, I can actually scroll up to see the rest of my timeline, like my B-roll track and my captions. And then I'll go ahead and zoom into my timeline here. And I'm going to bring this AI media up to where my B-roll is here. So a really cool use case for something like this is like if I didn't take a video of the giraffe, if I look at it here, this video I'm using for B-roll currently, and I only took my reference image that I uploaded earlier, I was able to make a video based on that picture. So if I was at the zoo, I only got a picture of the giraffe, I could turn it into a video while I'm talking about the giraffes. Now, for example here, I could just simply delete clip 10. and then bring my AI media here to replace the B-roll. And I'll go ahead and scale it up a little bit here by dragging up the corners to take up the frame. And then I'll go back here and preview the video.
The fact is that they only need between 5 and 30 minutes of sleep a day.
To me, that looks pretty natural. I mean, if you're watching the video, it's obviously AI if you're taking a look at it, but in a pinch, if you only have a picture, it works really, really well. Another quick thing I'll show you is how to turn your horizontal video project quickly into a portrait video project. Most of us nowadays are all editing videos for socials, so that's really important, I think. Let's scroll out here and zoom out of our timeline and take a look at this giraffe video. I'm going to drag the end to trim it and make it end along with my captions and my narration clip. Then on the ratio button here, I'm going to click on it, and it's currently set to original, which is 16:9, but I'm going to click 9:16 here at the bottom to turn it into portrait. And now I can resize everything for socials, right? I can drag the corner here to zoom in, and then I can drag the video here to center the giraffe and get the framing that I want. And then I can click my captions layer here in my timeline, and I can also scale that up and put it exactly where I want, along with my sticker and any other layer here. So changing your video into portrait is super easy. Though I want to export this video in a horizontal format for my YouTube channel, so I'm going to press Ctrl-Z a couple times and undo all my changes here. Now, the last thing I want to do before exporting my video is zooming out of my timeline. My music goes on for way too long, so I'm just going to drag it here to end with the rest of the video. And then I'm going to go up to the top right and click on Export. Here I can change the name of the video, where on my computer it's going to export to. I can change the resolution, the bitrate, codec, format, and frame rate. And I can turn on optical flow as well, which is like frame generation and smoothing. It's really good for slow-mo. I'm not going to use it for this project, but it is pretty cool. You can sync exported videos to a space. If I scroll down, I can also change some of the audio settings, GIF, captions, and whether or not I want to check for copyright. Before I hit export here in the bottom right, I can click on this button here that says Edit Cover. And I can find a frame in my video by using the slider, say maybe this one right here. Then I click on Edit. And it opens up almost like a miniature version of Canva or Photoshop. And I'm able to design a thumbnail directly in Capcut before I export. On the left-hand side, you have different templates, design, you can upload stuff, add text, shapes, stickers, different frames, a collage, or even a brand kit. I think this template here looks pretty cool, so I'll click on it. And it will add my face to the little circle here. It has some different text for me to change out. So I could change this to say Zoo Vlog, and then change the text to say with Caleb. And I'll delete the Git text here. So there we go. We got Zoo Vlog with Caleb. And then if I click save, it's going to go ahead and save my beautiful thumbnail. And I can click export. And when I export the video, it's going to export both the video and this thumbnail that I designed. So let's click on export here. And it's going to work through the export process.
All right, we're here today at the Cameron Park Zoo in Waco.
And there we go. Our video is now done. We can directly share it to TikTok and YouTube. And it's also going to automatically generate a TikTok video size for our video.
All right, we're here today at the Cameron Park Zoo in Waco, Texas. It's been around since 1993.
This is pretty cool that it does this. It's obviously going to have some issues here and there because it's AI going through your footage, trying to figure out what to center. So I would recommend obviously going in and doing this yourself. I'll click cancel here. And looking at our video, we have an absolute masterpiece from Caleb's day at the zoo. I really hope that this video taught you everything that you were hoping to know about Capcut. And don't forget to use the link at the top of this video's description to sign up for Capcut. And if you want access to all of Capcut's AI features, templates, assets, and more, make sure you upgrade to Capcut Pro. With that said, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.